is Ian Fisher, Deputy Foreign Editor for the New York Times in New York. On Monday, the third day of the ground offensive in Gaza, Israeli soldiers closed in on Gaza City, occupying buildings on the city's outskirts and engaging in battles with Hamas militants. While there was much violence in Gaza on Monday, it was unclear how much the two sides have engaged in close quarters fighting. The reason is that ambulances, as well as journalists, have been unable to get close to many of the places where they are fighting. What's clear, though, is that civilians continue to get caught up in the bombardments. The New York Times' Tigrit El-Khodri reports from Shifa Hospital in Gaza City.
At the hospital today, many of them, were blaming also Hamas for firing from residential neighborhood. This is very loud, but I think from our previous experiences covering the second Intifada, you go to a family and they will curse Hamas for firing from their neighborhood, but then you go after 1 month, and then when they remember their loved one, they say it's Israel that killed them. It's Israel to be blamed.
Hamas, meanwhile, fired at least 24 rockets into Israeli territory, rockets that Israel says it is in Gaza to stop. In all the violence, a new round of diplomacy began. On Monday, French President Nicolas Sarkozy and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair traveled to the region. Any diplomatic solution seems unlikely until both sides, Israel and Hamas, achieve their objectives. For Hamas, it wants to inflict as much damage as possible against Israel, much as Hezbollah did in the 2006 war that was so devastating to Israel and its military. For Israel, the aim seems less clear. Publicly, they say they want to reduce the capacity or end the capacity of Hamas to fire rockets into Israel. But many people argue that Israel is ultimately aimed at eradicating Hamas completely.